In my last year of high school, I found myself under a lot of pressure to perform well academically while struggling to balance that with my private life. If I decided to prioritize my friends after school, which I happily did most days, that meant I felt behind on homework, so the workload quickly built up and I spent many nights in a row completing homework way past midnight. One night I had to finish a literature paper for my English class, and my mother came up with a solution to make me a cup of black Vietnamese coffee. She had tried this many times before, but I was disgusted by the smell of coffee and always refused to try it. But this night was different. I was so tired and exhausted, so I just gave in. But let me tell you one thing, I felt amazing. The focus, the discipline. I smashed through my homework quicker than ever, and the only thing I could think of was why in the world had I not tried black coffee earlier. And you know the rest of the story. I quickly wired my brain to associate productivity with caffeine, and since I took such pride in being productive, caffeine became my best friend. Something I now kind of regret. But how did I find myself here? Hi everyone, my name is Victor, and I'm a coffeeholic.
Hey Victor!
And things got worse once I left for uni, trying to balance a social life, a long-distance relationship, part-time work, while aspiring to chase a modeling career as well as a music career. I had my hands quite full, and coffee helped me get through it. At least so I thought. It all began quite innocently, with 1 to 2 cups of coffee a day, but slowly that escalated and I found myself working a part-time job in a cafe, consuming 5 shots of double espresso every day for almost a year. Something that I used to implement to make me more productive was now the only thing that could get me to be productive. This was an addiction. I've managed to quit drinking alcohol completely. I've stopped smoking anything and I don't consume any other drugs. But caffeine has been that vice which I've not been able to let go of because I've given it such positive connotations and associations that I simply never saw it as a drug and something that could potentially be bad for me. On top of that, I'm from a country where drinking black coffee is more normal than drinking water. Well, not really, but we drink a shit ton of coffee. We even have a term for coffee time, a break in the day where colleagues go and enjoy coffee and pastries together. So in my setting, I was not the crazy one. I was completely normal. But I soon noticed that my body was not feeling 100% right. I began to get more stressed, more anxious about where my life was heading, had worse sleep, felt the lack of energy and focus. And if you know about my hair loss journey, this was around the same time I began losing a lot of hair. Not saying anything about causation and effect, but let's break down the effects of coffee. Firstly, it stimulates the central nervous system, leading to increased alertness and focus. It also boosts metabolism, which can aid in weight loss efforts. It improves mood and reduces symptoms of depression. Caffeine in black coffee can increase adrenaline levels, which can help to improve physical performance during exercise. But by also increasing adrenaline levels, caffeine causes a fight or flight response, which sure can improve physical performance and alertness, but over-consuming caffeine will never let the body rest, as caffeine can take up to 10 hours before completely out of one's bloodstream, therefore causing sleep disturbance and higher levels of cortisol, which in turn causes bloating, anxiety, stress, depressive symptoms, fatigue, headaches, etc. It also increases heart rate and blood pressure, working as a vasoconstrictor. It can cause dehydration, since caffeine is a diuretic, which means it can increase urine output and cause dehydration if not consumed in moderation. Specifically, coffee can interfere with the body's ability to absorb zinc, iron, and other minerals if consumed too closely to meals. After noticing these bad side effects, I tried to quit coffee not once, not twice, but many times. But I only lasted a few days until I found myself crawling back to the espresso machine. But it wasn't until 30 days ago that I decided that I've had enough. I want to be free from all addictions and I want to live a healthy life. And I feel like caffeine, at least at the moment, is doing more harm to me than good. This is because I'm not very good at moderation. Either I do something or I don't. So now I've decided I won't. Huh, that was like a rap. And this time I didn't relapse. And let me tell you how it went. I felt like my morning routine was off. So rather than waking up and heading straight to the espresso machine, I decided to start my morning with some water and some reading. And this was just a way to cope and distract myself from feeling like I needed coffee the first thing in the morning. and it actually worked surprisingly well. I even made my girlfriend coffee in the morning while I tried to keep reminding myself that it's not good for me. And only consuming water was honestly quite boring. So I began drinking herbal tea without caffeine, as well as warm water with lemon and ginger juice. This tastes amazing, and I can recommend this to anyone trying to quit coffee or caffeinated beverages. It also goes very well with sparkling water. I also tried to meditate once a day to slow down and anchor my breath, as I felt I've been breathing from the top of my lungs for the past years, not feeling grounded or present. And to be honest, I missed meditating some days. No excuses there, it's just me not prioritizing it. But on the days where I did not meditate, I felt less grounded and present. I guess I'm also one of those people who think back in time a lot and try to plan their future so much that they miss out on the present, which I consistently find myself doing. And if you've heard the quote, "Life is what happens while you're too busy making other plans," that's kind of like my life story. And that control and that power of being in the present is something that I'm really trying to regain if I actually ever had it in my life before. And I think caffeine actually helped me stay in that state of planning ahead all the time, thinking back all the time, and never being in the present, because it made me anxious. Although I'm currently seeing some improvements of this at the 30-day mark, I think it's a little bit too early to draw any absolute conclusions. And maybe I'm just being more present because I'm constantly telling myself to be more present, and it is my focus right now. But at the same time, I do feel more calm and more relaxed and more grounded as I'm speaking to you right now. On the downside, however, even though I did not experience any headaches or fatigue from quitting coffee, I do feel a little bit slower. It's almost as if something is missing. And I notice when I play Warzone with my boys, I get 0 kills. And I'm sure this is just in my head, but I do miss that edge that I got from consuming coffee. Like I said, even though it may be all made up in my head. Another drawback is that I usually treated myself with coffee, and that's something that I miss. I haven't found anything that I'm like, I'm gonna treat myself with this. Even though I overconsumed caffeine and I felt like I probably treated myself a little bit too much when it came to coffee, it was still something that I was looking forward to in my day. So I'm still on the lookout for what that could be. But that is something that I'll hopefully find soon. But I want to conclude with this. I'm currently 28 years old, and as I'm digging deeper into myself and finding out more about the world, and the more you find out, the more question marks there are, to be honest, and the dumber you feel. But I truly believe that if we feed our bodies with good, highly nutritious food, we get adequate liquids, we sleep enough, we exercise a lot as well, we have healthy relationships, and we have a sense of purpose and direction in our lives, I truly believe that we will give our soul, body, and mind the perfect environment to perform at peak levels, where outside stimulants such as coffee, alcohol, smoking, other recreational drugs aren't needed in order to perform at peak levels. So that is what I'm currently trying to do, and quitting caffeine is definitely part of that journey. And I'm excited to see if there are more benefits to this than what I've currently noticed. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, you found it somewhat useful, and I shall see you in the next one.